Welcome to Unraveling the Success Code, the podcast where we dive deep into the lives of individuals and learn what makes them successful. I am your host, Kimberly Johnson, a producing branch manager myself. I love to hear from my peers on what their definition of success is. This is where you will gain valuable knowledge, learn from the best, and unlock your personal success. Welcome to Unraveling the Success Code. Thanks for being on. Today we have Meg Baldwin. She has been in 15 years with personal growth development for businesses. She's helped train and build teams to improve their systems and processes, sales techniques, and effectiveness in businesses. She attended Michigan State University for graphic design and marketing, manager and regional trainer for the Buckle, retail and guest services coach for, is it Aveda?
Aveda.
Aveda?
So it's one of the, like a hair care line, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And then now, currently, she is mortgage marketing animals business coach. I love that you've come on and I appreciate it. I think you have such a unique perspective on the subject of success. And since you do coach so many people in so many different areas, you really have a good grasp on what maybe holds people back or what pushes them forward. And I would love to just get some clarity from you on what you think your definition of success, and then go a little bit deeper into that for individuals. So let's start with that. What's your definition of success?
Oh my gosh, what a loaded question.
I know, right?
First of all, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Um, but oh my gosh, how do I even answer that question? So we were chatting before, and if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, the answer would have been 100% completely different. So what I think it would have been then was, how busy am I? How long? How many hours do I work? Who needs me? Like what's filling my day, and is every moment filled? Because then 10 years ago, if I had downtime, it was like I should be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And now, being able to walk away from work at 5 o'clock and shut my computer off and not think about it is freedom.
Yes.
So success to me now is knowing that I can focus on my highest and best use during my work day, and then have my home day or home life afterward. And they don't intertwine, like they're separate. So being able to focus on work and then focus on life outside of work and have a clear division in that's success to me. Beyond just the time pieces and what builds my life, right? Being able to have an impact on others, help other people grow, feel like I'm being impactful, that's all success.
Yeah.
Then you can, I think the hardest part about this question is really being specific with it and feeling whole with it. So like even if you dive into it further, am I okay when I retire later, right? Are we taking into the financial piece of it as well? And so just making sure that all of those pieces fit together to build the life that you're looking for.
I love that. Yeah, it's thinking back to what would I have thought 10, 20 years ago success was. And it was so much more about what people looked at my life versus what I personally thought. So now, and that can bring up a whole nother issue with
Yeah, we could have another podcast for
I
that.
know that's a whole nother one. But then after you start growing and learning, you're like, wait, this is my life. And what does it look like for me? So I think there's a perspective of now, current, looking forward. And then when you reach the end of your life, looking back, what are those goals? And sometimes they're similar, but they're a little bit different, right? And you just need to make sure that they line up together, they intertwine. And then that's where you're going to find your perfect spot or place of where you find your success. It's fine to be motivated, right?
Yes.
And go after some things, but also you don't want to work every day all the time, right? You do want to have that personal time, because when you're looking back, what's the most important? Well, the people in your life, not the job that you had. So being impactful, yep, make sure those things line up together. And I think that's where I've learned to really, like, you've helped me so much with this, is get clear on what that is, looking forward and back.
Yeah. Well, and even, okay, so just because you want to go home at 5 o'clock every day, or you want to have a specific line from your work and life balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we work really hard to make that a true thing, and that it's not just a thing that we say, right? It doesn't mean that you have to lower your dreams or lower your standards or do less. It just means that you do what you're really good at and your team fills in the gaps. Or you delegate, which is really, really hard. I know that you know that. But it's knowing that it doesn't all fall on your shoulders. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're the conductor, you're the one who's leading them all, but it doesn't mean that Kim or Meg has to do everything. It means that we know what needs to be done and we figure out how it's going to get done without it being just us.
Ooh, so success is more about too bringing on people to um not necessarily bringing
Trusting,
on, but finding the people that are going in the same direction, right? Yes, team.
trusting your team and
Mhm.
trusting your ability to hire, right? It's
Yes.
scary. It's scary to start to bring people on. It's like, okay, well, will I be able to afford this? Can I bring someone on? Are they going to do what I need them to do? Trust the process and try it out. Just because you hire one person doesn't mean that that person is stuck to you till the end of your career.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so is that what you find people really struggle with, is maybe a fear of the wrong choice or making a mistake or it not working out? Or you tell me, what do you see a lot of people struggle with?
It's a mix of that. So fear is a big piece of that. So we're when it comes to your team, there's a huge fear in delegating because somebody else can't do it as good as you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm going to delegate that, but this person can't do it as well as me. So should I have them do it? The real question is, what activities are going to bring you the most income, right? What activities do you love to do? And fill your plate with those things. Anything else outside of that, we can delegate. Anything else outside of that they can do it 80% as well as you, and it'll be just fine. So it's, yeah, maybe they won't do it as well as you, but maybe they'll do it better than you.
Oh, yes.
But it's it's knowing that you can't do it all.
Mm.
If you want to grow, right? You want to stay right where you're at and do the exact same thing that you're doing and be where you are right now next year and the year after and the year after, then keep doing exactly what you're doing. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm. If
But if you want
that's
change, then you got to trust it a little bit. And that's scary. You
it
got to
is.
delegate, you got to invest, you got to take a little bit of a leap, but also understanding that those choices, you're not stuck with them forever. Just because you decide to try something doesn't mean that you can't make a decision later on that, well, I'm going to do this instead, or this wasn't the right person, I'm going to bring someone else on, or I need a couple different people. So it's the fear of taking action. It's the fear of not being worthy of dreams. So that's probably one of the biggest ones, is being scared to succeed.
Yes. It's there is real science where people they have shown that whatever you picture your mind as, like where you are in life, it is hard for you to get past that. And you will actually, even if you hit the next level, might sabotage yourself, get sick, or all of a sudden something comes up family wise, or you pick a fight, or whatever that might be, to bring yourself back down to what you feel like your level is in your mind. And so that's where I think being so clear about what each step is, and then having those people aligned with you to just feed you positive. No, we can get to that next level. We need to be at that next level. Like, this is where we're going. You are worthy of whatever it is you want, that
Yeah.
that next level. And putting in that time for it. I think that is definitely something that I see holds people back, is maybe comparison too. Just I know people that will talk about, oh, if comparing or looking at that person motivates me. And I'm like, well, I have a hard time. I have not seen that yet, where it truly motivates somebody to constantly compare yourself to somebody else. I think it's actually a joy stiller, and it
Mhm.
kills productivity. You might feel like you're being productive, but if you're always looking at somebody else and comparing your success with theirs, then you're just killing. You're taking time away from what you should be doing. Your focus on your, we call them your high level activities, right?
Mhm.
Your mind is on something else that's more of a negative than a positive.
Yes. Like you're never like, as much as you try, right? Maybe not you necessarily, but person, fake person in general. Um, okay, so use me, right? As much as I try, I would never be you. Like I can't be
Right.
you. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be Kim. You are the only Kim Johnson. Well, I'm sure there are other Kim Johnsons, but you're
There's
the
quite a
only
few Kim
Kim
Johnson. Yeah.
Johnson that is you. Um, so if I were to say, well, I'm only successful if I do this the way that Kim does it, I'm never going to be you. I'm putting myself against a measurement that I can't achieve. So going back to what you said, is having really clear understandings of what you're working toward, what your why is, and where you're going, so that you can measure yourself against you.
Yes.
So I don't know if you've ever read the book The Gap in the Gain. You have.
Yes. Yes. That's a
Perfect.
great one.
Yay.
Uh-huh.
So the only way that you can really measure how much you've grown or where you're going is measuring against yourself and where you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. And that's truly, I mean, when I think about success and where I'm at, it has nothing to do with money or financial gain. Am I better off than I was then? Yeah, of course. But it's the fulfillment in life and what I'm able to do with that money. It's, yes, my goals need money, but
Right.
my why is not money based, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And most people are that way. But when you ask them, what's your why? Okay, I want to make this much money. Why?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What is that going to do for you? What feeling will that bring to you? What does that do to your family? What does that do for your children? What does that do for anyone around you? And most of the time, it's going to bring peace of mind. It's going to bring, um, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. It's going to bring experiences, things that fulfill your time and allow you to spend more time with the people that you really truly care about.
Yes. And I think getting really clear on that does give you that freedom to understand where you want to go. Like for you, you understand, okay, it isn't about money. Money comes with it. For
Mm-hmm.
me personally, it's the success piece. I want to see how far I can go. I like pushing myself and seeing if I can get past that next limit that, whatever I perceive as a limit to keep going and how far I can get. Um, but the money does come with it, but also I have to learn with that is to be happy with that moment. Like that is what that book talked to me
Yes.
about so much is, when you are a driven person, you want to keep going and be successful. You have to remember, okay, well, if you're looking back, so that book talks about, like you said, not comparing where you want to be, but looking at where you've come from and going, oh, hi, man, look at what I did. That's awesome. I'm going to keep going. And instead of going, oh, well, why am I not already here today? Well, you got to keep working. So I have learned, okay, man, I just made this goal. This is awesome.
Yes.
I'm going to stop and enjoy and look at where I've come from and then go, okay, this is great. Now I'm ready to go to the next. Because typically I think we have that reaction to just be like, okay, on to the next, instead of allowing ourselves to enjoy the success piece of it, what we're
Yeah.
actually going for. And it isn't always about the money piece.
And the biggest successes come from little steps or little wins.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an overnight thing. It's not something where all of a sudden you're gonna be at the end goal and and there you are. Yay, I did it.
Yeah,
It's little win after little win after little win, and you're then able to look back and say, "Oh my gosh, I did all this." You know? Just like you have built an amazing team to help support you and to help build you to where you're going, so that you don't have to do it alone.
mm-hmm.
But you're also building up so many other people's dreams and allowing them success in that as well. So not only are you successful, but your team is. And that I think is a big motivator for you is growing and developing people, um, and giving them the opportunity to shine.
I know it definitely is. I I had I just feel very grateful and humbled because I did have this door open to me to walk into this industry, which is mortgage and lending. And it changed our lives. So I want to open up that door for anybody that wants to step in and go after it too, because I almost feel like it's a secret that nobody knows about. And it's a great career, but it's not one that when you're literally little, you're like, oh, I want to grow up and be a mortgage lender.
Yeah.
So I would love for people to find this career and this industry more. Yes. And I want to see I want to see lives changed. That's that's a great part of living life together, right? And
Yes.
it's just helping each other out.
Yeah. And it's knowing that everything doesn't always have to be done the same way by everyone. You may, You do have different strengths than other people on your team, and you run your business different than other people run their business, and that's
Right.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's knowing where your strengths are and using those to move forward as opposed to fighting them and or fighting your weaknesses, I guess. It's using other people to fill in the gaps so that you're all growing.
So how do you, when you have a client and they're talking about success and they're trying to figure out their business plan, how do you walk them through um getting down to what success means to them and then where their strengths are?
Well, there's a couple things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple different activities. One of the first of that would be what we call the acts of freedom. So you go through all the activities that you are doing in your business that you have to do and be really really honest with yourself about what you love. Out of all of these things that I do, what do I love? What doesn't feel necessarily like work? Um, a lot of the stuff that you do for work is going to feel like work, but do you actually enjoy it? Are you like, yeah,
Yes.
I get to do this today? So what do you like to do? Now, out of those things that you like to do they make you money? If one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that's on your list that you like to do is to check your email, that's not moving your needle. That's not making you money. So that doesn't really count, right? So we gotta like go through and what's bringing in business, what's moving the needle, what is moving us forward. And from that point, when you figure out what needs to fill your plate so that you enjoy your role and it makes you the most amount of money and you're good at it, right? We don't
Mm-hmm.
want you doing something that you kind of like to do, but you're not really that good at. Those would be called your triad of awesomeness. So those are going to be the things that should always be on your plate. They bring in money, you love them, you're good at them. Anything else, we need to figure out how to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that might not be tomorrow, but we can fit that into a plan of how do we gradually get that off of your plate so that it's not stealing your time, so that it's not stealing your money making opportunities. And so that's the piece of how do we how do we move the needle, right? How do we figure out what do we need to do so that we can make more money? Now, you got to the other piece that you were talking about is figuring out their why.
Yes.
Asking really straightforward questions. And I've done this with you.
Mm-hmm.
But asking where do we want to be, right? Doing the freedom statement and figuring out how much money do we need to make,
Mm-hmm.
where are we going and how are we going to get there. And when you have a very specific plan of what needs to be done in a period of time, then you can actually make a very specific plan of the actions that need to be done every day, how many leads need to come in, how many loans we need to be closing, how many phone calls we need to make. But even beyond that, like, why do we want that end goal, right? Why do we want to make that amount of money? And so really breaking down that why. If it's, I want to make $1 million a year, why do you want to make $1 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
What does that do for you? Does it mean that you can send your kids to school? Does it mean that you get to buy a different house that you want to buy? Why do you want to buy a different house? What does that do for you? What does paying off your house mean? You want to go on vacations. Why do you want to go on vacation? Probably because you want time with your family, because you want memories. Um, you don't want to worry about the future. You want to build a life that you love. So, really mapping it out so that they can see it. It's not just a thought way off here
Right.
that is like, oh, that'd be nice someday, but I don't know what it looks like. So, it's not real. Just like I might win the lottery, but I never buy lottery
Yeah.
tickets. So,
Yes.
and that's the same concept, right? If you just say something and you don't put any action toward it, it's never going to happen. Um, so what is it that they say? Like a dream without a plan is just like a pipe dream or something, but a dream with a plan is a goal.
Oh, yes. That's good.
I
Wow.
might have gotten that wrong, but we get the idea.
Yes, yes. And it's not, like you said, it's not this far out thing. It's not something that's overwhelming if you take your goal and start breaking it down. Because it's just, what do I need to do today to reach that goal? And then you have your win for the day.
Yeah.
If you're a visual person, you did your activities that day, put a little heart on your calendar or star it or something. Yes, today was a win and I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's just one more step closer to the big goal.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
it just like what you just said, it's the little wins every day. So it's mapping it out so that it works for you, so that you feel like you did something. There's lots of things that it could be, right? It could be checking things off of a list for you. It could
Mhm.
be time blocking on your calendar,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But, even using colors with your time block. So use green, the color of money, for
Uh-huh.
your money making activities. Then you can see how much time am I spending every week making money.
Yes.
And if you only see a little tiny sliver on there, that's very motivating to open it up. If you
Mhm.
only see a little tiny sliver on there and you're seeing momentum, you want to do more. So, how do I open up more time and get more green on my calendar? So, it's, taking control of your dream, your day, your life, because it
Yes.
doesn't just happen.
Right. No, you do have to break it down. You do have to get very clear. You do have to put that game plan together. And even if I would encourage somebody, even if they've worked on these things and they're trying to work daily on their calendar, they
Yes.
don't have it down, keep at it. It's practice. You're not going to be great at it the first time you ever jump in. And, now I'm not going to do, if you're always used to checking your emails or something, you're not going to just stop checking your emails that day. You can do things that help you, but just keep at it. And then the calendar, you realize, actually does give you more freedom than restriction,
Yeah.
but it is practice.
And it's baby
Right.
steps in practice. Put one thing on your calendar every day and stick to that.
Oh, yes. That's a great idea. Yeah.
And if you can stick to that for a week, for 2 weeks, add the next thing. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that every single day has to be completely planned out, because it is. It's based on every different person. They have different personalities, different things drive them. But making sure that those business building activities, those money makers, are on there. Those are non-negotiable.
Yes.
So can we block those? Can we start with half of those? And if you can show up and do those are game changers. Whatever else happens in your day, you know that that's done.
Hmm.
um as far as like checking email and stuff like that, yeah, it's hard to jump into your email, but shut the dang notifications off on your phone.
Yes.
If you're getting notifications nonstop on the front of your phone, email, 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 you're going to check it nonstop. Just turn it off. You don't need to know the second an email comes in.
Right.
It steals you from your money making activities that you may be doing. It steals you from a conversation that you may be having. It steals you from life. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't need that. You can open the app and look at your email and you'll be just fine.
I love this. It's so good.
Same thing with Facebook notifications. Like, don't get me
Yes, all of
started.
this.
Facebook notifications, Instagram notifications, turn them off. Like, just log into it and look at it.
I don't know how people keep them on, honestly. When you have your something constantly going, how distracting. Oh, no. That's why I'm not an Apple Watch wearer.
No,
If
I can't.
no, if it
It's bad enough if my phone blinks. Like,
right.
my husband texted me and I'm like, stay out of here. Like,
Yes. I have the email going and then the phone going. And if my watch was going too, no. Yes.
yes.
So
So those are all called reactive activators. So
uh-huh.
those are all things that are going to cause a reaction from you. So if you can
Mhm.
shut those off and stop that, you stop the things that are going to steal your attention away. And for a lot of salespeople, we're ADD. Um, and no, I'm not trying to like diagnose anybody, but it's very like
Yes,
squirrel,
I
right?
know.
Like what's that? What's that? That cartoon? Um, but it's what else can I focus on? Oh my gosh, what else needs me? Who else is calling? Oh, I need to check this. If you can shut that off to kind of calm that in your brain, then you can focus a little bit easier on one activity and then the next. And so it's learning that about yourself and recognizing how do I take control of my time and of my day and not let my day run me.
Yes, because busyness does not equal high level activity. That does not
No.
mean you're getting done or reaching your goals just because you're keeping your day busy.
And that's the biggest piece of work-life balance that I can like scream from the mountaintops is best use of your time during your day. If you can focus on your top activities and focus solely on what needs to get done, you'll be done by 5, maybe 4, maybe 3. And you can be done with the day and go do something else with your family, maybe go to the gym, maybe go on the boat, whatever is fun for you. You're not slacking because everything got done. But you
Yes.
gotta focus because if you don't focus and your money making activities are not getting done, then you're not done working, right?
Yes. And you haven't hit that next step, right? It's just one step after the next. Yep.
Mhm,
So if you somebody's listening to this and
mhm.
they're struggling with how to reach their goal, they know what they want, they're really busy, but they're just not seeing that movement. What are the 3 tips that you would give them?
Oh, 3? You are
Oh,
gonna make it really specific. Okay, here we go. Number 1,
uh-huh.
what is your goal? Do you know what your goal is?
Hmm.
So that needs to be lined out before anything else because you can't figure out how to fix it if we don't know what we're fixing and where we're
Right.
going. So, one, figure out your goal. Does it mean, and a goal is different for everybody. A goal may be, I want to stop working by 5 o'clock every day. All right, you're going to need to start living by your calendar and figuring out what's
Mhm.
stealing your time. Your goal may be to make a certain amount of money every year or have made a certain amount of money by a certain time. Okay, then we need to break that down and figure out how that amount of money relates to the actions in your business. So with mortgage, right? Because we're very familiar with that. If you know that you want to make $1 million in a year, then you
Mm-hmm.
got to figure out how many dang loans you got to do to bring
Yes.
in $1 million. And it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to figure out how many business partners do we need? How many relationships do we need to build to get to that point that we're bringing in that business? But everything relays back to that goal. And we can break it down and reverse engineer it. Okay, so one, recognize your goal. Where are we going? Number two, oh, that's a big one. That one really covers a lot, doesn't it? Number two, um, manage your time.
Oh, yes. That one's a hard one. Yep. Mm-hmm. But we can do that. We can go. That's a whole nother podcast. Yep.
Try to manage your time. So when are we starting to work? When are we ending work? Um, are we focusing on activities? Is stuff stealing us away? Are we sitting on Facebook and scrolling for hours during the day? Because if you're sitting on Facebook and scrolling, you're not working.
Yeah.
So no wonder you're not getting done. And no wonder the business isn't growing because you're not focused on the activities. So take, um, you know what I have people do is track what you're doing over a few days and figure out what is stealing your time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might not be able to answer it right away in this moment when you listen to this, but track what is stealing your time and where your time is going. And it may be driving kids here and there. It may be um, sitting scrolling on Facebook. It may be a million different things, but how do we get less of that distraction and more of the focus time? Um, okay, so we have hone in your goal,
Mm-hmm.
um, manage your time. So essentially, live by your calendar. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm probably a broken record about time blocking. So manage your time and time block your calendar.
It's a game
The
changer.
the third thing, figure out your triad of awesomeness. So figure out what activities that you are doing in your business that move your needle.
Mm-hmm.
If you can hone in what activities actually move your needle and build your business, you have gold in your hand because you can do more of that if you know what it is. If you have
Ooh.
no idea what that is, figure it out.
And find somebody that will help you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So if people are listening to this and they are in the mortgage industry and they want to kind of connect with other people who are also loan officers, mortgage brokers, business owners, they can join Loan Officer Breakfast Club every morning, Monday through
Mm-hmm.
Thursday at loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. And it is a live Zoom call, and it's run by Carl, Steve, Frank, and they'll help, right? They talk about all the stuff that we've been talking about. So
And
join.
it's a
It's free.
great way to start your morning. High energy, fun.
Yes,
It'll make
absolutely.
keep you laughing.
Yes. But just knowing that you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
It could be having help. It could be just getting the crap off of you that doesn't need to be there. Is there anyone else in your house? Can your husband help with something? Can you delegate to your kids to steal some,
Yes.
like, can they do a load of laundry? Can they clear their dishes? Like, what is stealing your time? Figure that out, and then you can steal back that freedom.
This has been so great. And I appreciate your time coming on here. I think we've
I will
talked about
come
some
on
other
here
things.
anytime.
Thanks. We've definitely talked about or touched on some other subjects you might need to come on and talk about. Dive more little bit deeper, but the success piece was great. And just going over the definition, what that means for somebody and how to get really clear on what they need to do to reach their own goals. And I'll make sure that they have all your contact information in the notes. But thank you, Meg.
You're so welcome.
Now it's time for you to take action and apply what you have learned. Armed with the insights from our interviews, you have the tools to make informed decisions and achieve your goals. So go out there, put your knowledge into action, and we will see you again next time here on Unraveling the Success Code.